So, I'm just going to start off by speaking about the general idea behind Edinburgh People. So, you are a group of independents standing together, but you're not a political party. Just sort of explain how that plays out.
Okay. Quite a few of us have come together and officially we have founded Edinburgh's newest political party, which is Edinburgh People. Now, 5 of us, who are all members of Edinburgh People, are standing in the 4th of July general election. Now, we're all standing as independents. However, we aren't actually independents because we're all members of Edinburgh People, and we've been chosen by the members to stand. And we are bound by the Constitution of Edinburgh People. Okay? Now, because Sunak gave us such little notice, right, it takes 2 to 4 months to register a new political party with the Electoral Commission. So for that reason, the party isn't registered with the Electoral Commission. So the party's name will not appear on the ballot paper.
Okay, so you wanted it to appear on the ballot paper, but it was...
Yeah, in an ideal world, yeah, that's right, in an ideal world. Now, so the 5 of us will be listed just with our names. And so the important thing for everyone to remember is our names, right? So my name's Marc Wilkinson, and I'm standing in Edinburgh South West, right? Jane Gould is standing in Edinburgh East and Musselburgh, right? Mark Robotham is standing in Edinburgh South. Nick Hornig is standing in Edinburgh West. And Caroline Waterloo is standing in Edinburgh North and Leith. And our names will be on the ballot paper, and it will just be blank below it. So we have chosen to not be advertised as independent, which is something that you can choose to do.
Okay.
Because we're technically not. We are bound by the Constitution.
Got you. Okay. And so you've started up this party. Tell me how you kind of got to this point and how it's been and what you want to achieve ultimately.
Well, it's all happened incredibly quickly because up until 5 weeks ago, it was really just purely a hypothetical, theoretical construct of mine to do this, right? But since Rishi Sunak's announcement of the staff election, we have mobilised at an incredible pace. And if the truth be told, it hinged on a crowdfunder that was started on Tuesday, the 3rd of Tuesday the 4th of June, mm-hmm. And literally on the Thursday, the 6th of June, we secured £4,500 in funding on the one day, right? And there's nothing like a deadline, right, to make decisions happen really fast. So what's been absolutely fascinating, Donald, about what's happened in the last 4.5 weeks is that what we've achieved would normally have taken 4 months. Because what happened is on that Thursday, the following day, literally was the deadline for submitting our nominations to the council. So at 3:30 the following day, we were in the city chambers and we paid out £2,500.
Okay.
Right, to the council. But that's the cost for 5 candidates to stand. Right.
That's your deposit.
Yeah, but that money was only received the day before, right? So it really was a sense that divine intervention or whatever it might be was making it happen, because as a result of that, we then subsequently managed to crowdfund a further £9,000 to pay for 273,000 election communications, which were printed, designed and delivered last Friday. So literally 1 week ago, right? One of us drove to Wishaw, right, and delivered our 273,000 leaflets. And literally a few minutes ago, there was a postman here, and he was just waving. He's got a big bundle of Jane's leaflets, right? Okay.
Well, that must be reassuring then.
Yeah, so it's reassuring. So it's happening. As a result of 273,000 leaflets getting delivered, we are getting hundreds of emails coming forward.
Are you?
Right.
What are they saying?
Well, Well, you know what? The most interesting emails are ones from people who've previously been members of other political parties,
Okay.
and who have stood as candidates for these parties, who have subsequently left these parties and find themselves currently politically homeless.
Right.
And they've been in touch, right? So we've got basically previous members of the Green Party, the Labour Party, the SNP Party, all three contacting us and saying, look, we've seen what you're doing, can we get involved, right? Which is absolutely amazing, because we need as many people to join our movement, because it's a people-led movement.
Right.
Okay?
So your whole thing is people, not politicians. That's the idea.
Yes.
So let's say in an ideal world you get your 5 candidates elected next Thursday. So you'd have 5 MPs in the House of Commons. That's not a lot of power in the House of Commons. I mean, how would you use that kind of small amount of influence to do what people in Edinburgh want? I mean, what is the idea? Where do you want to take it? And how would you bring about change?
Right. Well, firstly, let me explain that what we're doing right now is the first stepping stone, right? We're just trying to get across the river. And this is the first stepping stone to something that is far more realistic, right, than what you're suggesting, Donald, right? And the reason I say that is that at Westminster, we are constrained by the first past the post system, which basically means that it's completely and utterly unrealistic for Edinburgh people to ever really have an MP sitting at Westminster. Okay? However, there is something that is far, far more realistic than that, and that is to have sitting MSPs, right? Elected, I predict, on the 7th of May 2026. And the reason I say that is that Edinburgh People, the name of the party is going to be changed very soon to Edinburgh and Lothian's People, to encompass East Lothian, West Lothian and Mid Lothian.
Okay.
Okay? And that party will essentially stand in the Scottish elections for the region, the Lothian region. Okay? And the plan is to inspire the creation of a further 7 regional political parties.
So,
right?
So you'd be standing on the list.
That's right. Yeah. And so we'll have Glasgow People for Glasgow. For Southern Scotland, we'll have Southern Scotland People.
Right.
We'll have Northwest Scotland People. So we will have 8 regional political parties representing the people of those
all independent of each other.
All independent of each other, and on the list. Now, in the Lothians region, in 2021, the Green Party secured around about 12% of the vote. So, through the list systems, through the proportional representation system of the list system, the Green Party secured 2 MSPs from Lothians, right? So our target is to achieve 6% of the votes in all 8 regions, at which point each of the regional people parties will secure 1 MSP each, and will give us 8 MSPs, which would actually be more, 1 more than what the Greens secured in 2021, which allowed them to become a junior partner in a coalition government.
So that's what you've really got your eye on, is the Scottish Parliament. This is kind of a bit of a test run, would you say? This
is basically a marketing campaign.
Right. Okay. So
to get awareness.
Okay.
And my approach to life is that every cloud, if you look closely, every cloud has at least 2 silver linings, if not more than that. And whilst I became a little bit depressed for about 48 hours after Rishi Sunak's announcement.
Well, why were you depressed?
Because we hadn't registered the party.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
Right, so I realised that
You've been caught on the back foot a lot.
I've been caught on the back foot. We were planning for an October or November general election just in the same way that everyone else was. So we were caught on the back foot. So I was actually gutted.
Right.
In the true sense of the word,
Yeah.
right? It's the first time that I actually was able to fathom the true meaning of that word, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I had this churning.
You thought you wouldn't be able to go ahead with it.
Yes, that's right. So, but however, the silver lining is that by having done what we've done now, it's going to give us an extra 5 months to prepare for the Scottish elections. And what we have learned in the last 5 weeks is absolutely huge. And the most important thing that we've learned is that from a sort of philosophical point of view, Donald, right? It's been a fascinating experience because what we've achieved in the 4 weeks would normally take 4 months.
Right.
But the only difference is that in order to make change happen, let's say that there was 1,000 decisions that had to be made. All that's happened is that all those 1,000 decisions have just been made very, very quickly.
Okay.
And the time lapse between a decision being required to be made and for it to be actually made has been shortened literally by 75%, which explains how we've managed to achieve what we've done in the 4 weeks as compared to taking 4 months, which is a fascinating lesson for me, because what it shows is that change can happen very, very fast if people that are trying to make the change happen are sufficiently motivated and sufficiently driven to actually motivate people to just get on and make up their minds so that the next decision can be made.
Sure. Okay. And so talk a little bit about the sort of process and what your plans are. Let's talk a little bit about policy and what the position of your party is on different issues. I mean, what have you decided to this point? I know that you're quite new. What have you decided to this point in terms of what you would actually want to do once you got into power?
So the question about our policies is obviously a very, very important question. Okay, so the main thing is that we had less than 50 inaugural members of the party. Okay, and the party is a member-led party. It's very, very democratic. So it's a one member, one vote. It's the members who propose policy, right? If 10% of the members support the policy, it goes to a vote. And we require a 2/3 majority for policies to become party policy. Okay?
Yeah.
So the objective right now is to really inspire hundreds, if not thousands of people from Edinburgh to join the party. Because our first biannual general meeting is going to be in September 2024, where we're going to have a lot more members, and we'll have a lot more policies being put forward by the members. So
are there any so far?
At the moment, we have voted. They're on our website.
Okay.
You know, one of them includes women's rights.
Okay.
Right.
What is that policy?
So that policy is to protect safe spaces for women, whether it be in toilets and changing rooms, to not change the definition of the word woman, which I think from a legal point of view, really, it's been proven that cannot be changed in any case, but people are attempting to change the definition of what a woman is to include men who've transitioned to wanting to be a woman. I've got nothing against men wanting to do that or transitioning, but in terms of their freedom to be who they want to be is absolutely well and good and can't be really challenged, until it starts to affect other people. And there is a huge number of women that are being affected by the changes that are taking place and that are being put forward, including, for example, protecting women's sports, right? To not include, men who've transitioned to being able to compete, just because from a biological point of view, it's plain and clear to all that would be unfavourable to biological women.
Sure.
if we really need to call them biological women as opposed to just calling them women.
Sure. Okay, well, I think that should probably do it, unless there's anything else.
No, I suppose. I mean, just the finishing point. The finishing point, which this is a question that you put to Jane, which is that, you know, once we become elected, then we will essentially become politicians. Yeah. The key objective of Edinburgh People is to represent the interests of the people of Edinburgh, right? First and foremost, and to provide them with a voice, but more importantly than that, a voice that is listened to, and more important than that, a voice that is acted upon, and actually far more important than that is a voice where the change that people want is seriously attempted. And that's what Edinburgh People is about. In terms of our strategy to achieve that aim is to do it without relying on career politicians, and to have people in the council, in the Scottish Parliament, and potentially one day in Westminster, who are free to vote without being whipped by their party, and free to vote and represent their members from their party, from their local area, and that will stand us very different from the other politicians in the respective houses who are being whipped by their party. And the key fundamental problem with that, right? The key fundamental problem with that is that you know, you've been in the city chambers, right? You've been there yourself. There's 60 councillors at the full council voting. You would expect 60 hands to go up when the vote is taking place. Now, in fact, there isn't 60 hands that go up. There's only 5 hands that go up. One hand that goes up casting a vote on behalf of all the Conservative councillors. Another hand goes up casting a vote on behalf of all the SNP councillors, etc. Right? And what that proves is that the individual councillors who are representing the people from the respective wards are not free to vote. Now, if you, for example, had like 2 members of the Green Party that wanted to have an opposing view to their party, they would have to spend a lot of time trying to persuade the majority of the Green councillors to support them,
Sure.
which is going to be such a hard thing for them to do, which doesn't surprise me if a lot of them just give up from actually doing that, and they just
So all Edinburgh People councillors hypothetically would vote however they want. They would
Yes.
be whipped in any way,
yes,
even if it wasn't part
apart-
of the Edinburgh People policy.
apart from being
It's the
whipped.
policy that had been decided upon by the Edinburgh People, they'd still be free to
Yes, that's right.
rebel
Yeah,
from that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's a key point, and the reason that's a key point is that choosing the candidates is going to be done by the members who will vote on choosing the candidates. But most importantly, the members will also choose on reselecting sitting councillors, MSPs, and MPs. Right. So when long. And sometimes they'll be right. Who's to say that hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? And if I vote against the members on a particular policy, but it turns out that I was actually right as compared to what the members wanted, then I can argue that when it comes to reselection, right? But the key thing is that we avoid career politicians because the members reselect
Okay.
the sitting councillors, MSPs, and MPs.
And I understand membership that you don't have to pay for membership.
Yeah, that's right.
You
And so,
choose to.
absolutely. So what we want is we want several thousand more local people to become involved in politics. So there is no barrier to joining the party.
Okay.
Any membership fees are voluntary. So that gives people who can't afford to contribute, or people who don't sufficiently feel that they are politically sufficiently motivated to contribute, they can join the party and start to become involved. And if in 6 months' time they decide, hang on a minute, this is actually something that was really important now, and they can start contributing if they want, but they don't have to.
Sure. Great. Okay. Thank you so much, Mark. That's really covered quite a lot there. So that'll definitely be more than enough for a story. And yeah.